Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little lamb.
The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
The guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's gross negligence, and honestly, it's worse. It's just sheer incompetence.
I think we're going to be very good with the coronavirus. I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope.
The nation's death toll now tops 135,000.
There's no enthusiasm. He can't get people to show up or rally. They don't want him on the stump. Honestly, they don't even want him on a teleprompter because he can't even get that right.
They delivered a swift and swoop in, you know, that sweeping.
An anomalous, really an ominous.
This guy is the epitome of the swamp.
President Trump's pardons. Most are white-collar criminals with personal or financial ties to the president.
Whether it's the brother, whether it's the sister, the entire family has enriched themselves.
The Chinese government awarded Ivanka 7 new trademarks.
They can say one thing, do the other, and never get called on it. It's asinine. Oh!
Midas Touch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Bye-bye. 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 112 days till the election, everybody. 112 days. Only 2 weeks left for unemployment if you're getting the 600. Only 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left. And here's a little factoid. Here's something to tell yourself. You know, the Senate is not in session. Did you know that? Yeah, they're not at work. You know, they're going to preach and they're going to tell and they're going to, you know, tell you and how to conduct. Yeah, meanwhile, they're going to say to you that you don't need a $600 unemployment check because it's a disincentive for you to work. Meanwhile, they do no work. They do no work. They're not even in session. They will be back in session on the 20th of July. On the 20th of July. And the unemployment benefits, like in New York, they run out on July 26th. Mostly every place else on the 31st. So if they're back on the 20th, that gives them exactly 5 minutes to figure out what they'd like to do to you. I mean, for you. Right? They're public servants. Yeah, McConnell. So here's what's floating around, okay? Yesterday, I sort of kind of in passing mentioned, and you know, you really need to know this, and because some of you are actually living it, I don't really need to tell you all, but some of you do need to know that this country has looming evictions on the horizon. There are 28 million evictions just waiting for the sheriffs to serve the papers. Yeah, because the eviction moratorium, it expires as well, right? Because we thought we would be through COVID-19. We thought we would be through the coronavirus by now. But we're not through the coronavirus by now because we have an incompetent president who refused to do anything on a federal level to get everybody on the same page and say, okay, we're going to have one really bad quarter. You guys, we're all going to have to stay home everywhere for 3 months, and we'll get money out the door for you. We'll give, mortgage payers a reprieve. We'll give renters a reprieve. We'll take care of the landlords who are, on the other end of this. Everybody will be taken care of. Everybody will be, just secure and just stay home and, do it for 3 months. And this virus will have no hosts to live inside, and it will find some other place to go. But oh no, he lied about it. He lied about it repeatedly, as we all know. He said, there were 15 cases. They were all getting better. He still says people get sniffles. He still says that the death toll has something to do with testing. I don't know. I mean, listen, like I said, if I had a baby 9 months from now and I didn't have a pregnancy test today, I would still have the baby 9 months from now. You understand that, right? Just because you didn't get the colonoscopy, just because you didn't get the mammogram doesn't mean that when they tell you have cancer, that you don't. So, okay, forget him. But now we're in this predicament where Florida, Arizona, California, I mean, they have more cases now. They have more people in hospitals now than most countries in the world. In the world. And so we're going to have to do what we should have done in the first place. We're going to have to shut it down. Everybody has got to realize this. And so it's going to be very important. What does Mitch McConnell do? What does one guy, what does he do? What does he tell his loyal sycophants in the Senate to do? Right? So I'm looking at, like, you know, look, the CARES Act, the HEROES Act. Nancy Pelosi, she's got this. She understands it. She has told everybody we need state and local money. Obviously, they don't want to give state and local money. They want to give money to schools that just open without a plan. That is their plan, to not have a plan. You know, how hard does this man try to get it wrong? He must try really hard because he gets it wrong all the time, right? If he's so freaking smart, why is he getting it wrong all the time? All the time. Parents are not stupid, okay? 71% of parents say it's too risky to reopen schools when you're awash in a virus, when there's virus every freaking where and there is no cure for the virus, okay? 71% of parents, 53% of Republican parents. Guess what that is, Republicans? Guess what that is? That's called a majority. Yes, 53% of Republicans think it's too risky to send their kids to school. 80% of Democrats, same thing. The total, 71%. And I'll tell you something, 90% of African American parents, they get it. 80% of Hispanic parents, they get it. You know why? You know why? Essential workers. They're out there working. They're on the front lines working. They know what the deal is, okay? And they know that Betsy DeVos has no plan. They know it. She said as much over the week. Who thought putting her on TV was a really good idea? I have no idea who thought that that was a smart move. She was asked point blank, what is your plan? Her plan was open schools.
You're asking students to go back. So why do you not have guidance on what a school should do just weeks before you want those schools to reopen? And what happens if it faces an outbreak?
You know, there's really good examples that have been utilized in the private sector and elsewhere, also with frontline workers and hospitals. And all of that data and all of that information and all of those examples can be referenced by school leaders.
But I'm not hearing a plan from the Department of Education. Do you have a plan for what students and what schools should do?
So schools should do what's right on the ground at that time for their students and for their situation. There is no one uniform approach that we can take or should take nationwide.
But can I just ask you,
because the needs of a school in the city of Detroit are very, in my home state, in the city of Detroit, would be very different than that of a school in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Exactly, and that's the point. That's completely understandable. Mm-hmm. But you are arguing over and over that they should handle this on a local level. But at the same time, as the Secretary of Education, you are trying to push them to do a one-size-fits-all approach, which is go back and reopen schools. You can't have it both ways.
I am urging all schools to open and to be providing their students a full-time education.
What is wrong? Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that she was a good Secretary of Education? This is a woman who's not taught a day of school in her life. You know, she needs to go be a substitute teacher, is what she needs to do for about a year. But parents are not stupid, and they are not going to gamble with their children's lives. They're not going to gamble with their families' lives. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it without a plan. And there is no plan. That is clear. They don't have a plan except one size fits all. Everybody open. Guess what? California? No. San Diego schools are not going to open in the fall. Los Angeles schools are not going to open in the fall. New York schools will only open in the fall if the rate of infection is below 5%. That's called a plan. A benchmark for when it is safe to open school. You know, I swear to God. And so now, we don't know. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.